The biggest Android ROM developer community, CyanogenMod, just shut down. The website is offline, the sources are offline, all the builds are not there anymore. And in this video, I will explain what will the future of CyanogenMod will be and what happened to it. And I will also give a background of what CyanogenMod actually is. So let's start. So Android basically is made up of Android open source project, which is open source, and some other Google applications, and the kernel and some other stuff also. But basically the Android operating system is open source because of AOSP, and you can make changes to AOSP and put it out there. So that's what many of the custom ROMs are. They just fork or like copy all the sources of AOSP and develop on that. So that's what CyanogenMod actually did. They took the sources from Google and built upon that, added more features and put it out there in the developer community, and people used it and they liked it a lot. So the sources that they derived from AOSP were also open source. It was, when it started, it was a non-profit community developer organization that helped developers build the operating systems for their devices. As time passed, it grew and grew. Many of the users joined in. There were a lot of developers who were developing for CyanogenMod, and it was the most consistent Android experience that you could get from a custom ROM. So many people tried it and they actually loved it, and that's why CyanogenMod became a big thing in like 2010 or something. To give you a gist of how popular CyanogenMod actually is, I'll give you an example. 95% of you guys who are using a custom ROM right now is CyanogenMod or a derivative of CyanogenMod. Many of the ROMs out there that you see on these developer community forums, they are derivatives of CyanogenMod. They just fork or just copy the sources of CyanogenMod and build upon that. So CyanogenMod is the actual one who starts development for most of the devices, and because of CyanogenMod only, the small devices have been able to develop more and more and get Lollipop or Jelly Bean or even Nougat for some very old devices. When CyanogenMod became very big, the founder of CyanogenMod, Steve Kondik, decided that they should turn this into a business, and they started Cyanogen.inc. So Cyanogen is the company that includes CyanogenMod. So CyanogenMod is the mod developer community, and it is included inside the Cyanogen company that they started. And they started making operating systems and different softwares for different companies like Oppo, OnePlus, Micromax and many others. But when Cyanogen became a company, so Cyanogen started hiring more staff members, and Cyanogen and CyanogenMod were a bit different or like separated because of the differences in their fundamentals or whatever you want to call it. They just didn't go along well together. When Cyanogen came out, many of the sponsors and companies that promoted CyanogenMod or gave them money actually wanted them to promote closed source apps. So that's what the company started to do. The development for smaller scale devices or open source development was continuing in the background, which was done by CyanogenMod, but the development for OEMs was also done by CyanogenMod, but it was marketed by Cyanogen, the company. So there were problems starting arising, and some problems were due to Oppo. They promised Oppo that they will exclusively make Cyanogen for Oppo only, but then they started providing builds for Micromax in India, and then things didn't work out with Oppo and Oppo backed out of Cyanogen. Also, there were some more problems because Cyanogen was pushing out closed source apps, and the developer community was more towards open source, and they wanted everything open source. And many of the guys who worked in CyanogenMod were unable or didn't want to work with the Cyanogen developers. So because Cyanogen was over CyanogenMod, so the CyanogenMod was dependent on Cyanogen for the funding or infrastructure or any monetary support. So they couldn't back out and make a new company. But recently Cyanogen made some choices like closing the Seattle office and wanting everybody to move outside, and they also cut some monetary support from CyanogenMod, and all this didn't work out well, and the developers who made CyanogenMod, the actual developer community, backed out from it because they can't have the name CyanogenMod because it's under Cyanogen. They didn't use the name, and Steve Kondik, the actual founder of CyanogenMod, also backed out from the company, and the company is not closing. The Cyanogen company is not closing. It's still running, but CyanogenMod has been closed. So that was a lot of bad news, but here's the good news. CyanogenMod won't be quitting, but it will be rebranded as Lineage Os. The link will be in the description. You can check out their blog post. They won't have the monetary support that Cyanogen provided, or they don't even have the infrastructure to push out all the builds. And let's see how the developer community actually works out. Right now, any builds for CyanogenMod will not be released, so you won't get any nightly builds or snapshot builds for any of the phones that were being supported by CyanogenMod. And you also won't get any support right now from Lineage Os because they have just started and they have forked all the sources from the CyanogenMod directory to their directory, and that's what the developer of Lineage Os said. Now the monetary support and the infrastructure of everything is with the Cyanogen company, and the Lineage Os or CyanogenMod is left with the community and the open source developer that worked very hard to set up CyanogenMod in the first place. So things could go anyways. Either both of them could succeed, or the company might succeed and the mod community might go down, or anything would happen. So what does this mean for the developer community or the normal users that flash ROMs on their phones? So the development on all the phones will be stopped for some time, because CyanogenMod as website has been shut down. There are no nightlies, and 95% of the ROMs depend on CyanogenMod. This could be a great place for new ROMs to pop up that are open source and that build upon themselves. But let's see how Lineage OS goes, and let me know in the comment section how you feel about the new OS, and would you still support Cyanogen the company, or would you be side on the developers who actually build the Cyanogen mod? Leave them in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for more content like this. And if you have anything to say about Cyanogen mod, leave them in the comment section below, because I'll surely be reading all of them.